I hate standing behind a podium, being tied to a microphone stand. So forgive me for walking around a little bit. You'll have to have your eyes go back and forth across the stage. You guys are a tough group to talk to because I come out here a lot. I know I've known many of you. Caesar, how long have I known you? 20 plus years. Some of you I've known too long. And you guys have all heard me speak over and over and over again. And I'm really going to annoy the camera person. I know this, but job security. So, from my standpoint, the multiple listing service is such an important and key part of you guys' business. But one of the things that even in this group that I've come out and spoken to so many times, and people that I've known for so long, and individuals that have been in this business for an extended period of time, there's still a lot of misconceptions about the multiple listing service and what it is that we do. We're going to talk a little bit about CRMLS today. We're going to talk about the rules. Woohoo! I know that's one of everybody's favorite topics, but I think there's some really important and key things to glean out of that and really talk about the future of the multiple listing service. There are some of you that have been in this business for a short period of time and some that have been in for a very long period of time and have seen a lot of change. And we're going to talk about where the future of the MLS is heading. And then we're going to talk about the It's My Business campaign and talk a little bit about what we're doing there and why that's so important to you guys who have been a part of the MRMLS or CRMLS system for an extended period of time. Today, here's our footprint within the state of California. And I probably should have added an additional slide that showed the footprint of the actual listing count that you guys have access to within the matrix system. But it's extensively larger than that. Any guess of what percentage of the listings in the state of California that you guys have access to? 70%? 65%. Some of you guys have heard me speak before. We did lose one area of the state that we're getting back very shortly. It'll take us back up to that 70% figure. So when I say you guys have access to 70% of the state of California, what I mean is something that is so key and important to the multiple listing service. There are 2 C's that control the multiple listing service: compensation and cooperation. Okay? And if I tell you guys have access to 65% of the listings in the state of California, that means that either within the Matrix platform or logging into other MLS systems, the offers of compensation and cooperation flow to you. So if you can see it through Matrix or you can see it through some of the logins, you guys have rights to compensation and cooperation from that. Okay? Very clear. It was interesting that you guys chose that code of ethics section to highlight today, because what is true of the code of ethics is not true of the multiple listing service. I ask people all the time, what is the multiple listing service? Well, it's a place where I put all my listings. Oh, it's a database that advertises my listings to other brokerages. It is a lot deeper than that. It's not even a technology platform. What it is a contractual offer between brokerages. And when you put a listing into the multiple listing service, you are agreeing to cooperate and to compensate. The code of ethics section that they highlighted, it's only if it's in the best interest of your client, and if cooperating and compensating with other brokerages is not in the best interest of your client, do not put it in the multiple listing service. Okay? There are mechanisms for you guys to do that. But you have to be very clear with your clients as to what they're missing out with if it is not put into the multiple listing service. I would highly recommend taking something out of the multiple listing service is a decision that must be made by the seller, not by you, the broker, or the agent. Okay? Very clear from that standpoint. One of the things when I talk about the future of the multiple listing service later is this whole entire idea, this ideal of cooperation, and how important and how key it is as we move forward. You can see the numbers there, 81,000 plus professionals that are served by CRMLS. All of that means that we have some of the tools and capabilities of building some really cool stuff for you and delivering some really cool tools and products to you, and we'll talk about those a little bit later. Here are the associations. There's one additional that I didn't get a chance to add in there. There's West San Gabriel in its alphabetical order. I didn't put you last for near last for any other reason other than that. Data share associations. Okay, so here's a very key and important thing. If it says data share associations, their data from their members are in the matrix system. I get asked from people all the time, do I need to go join Claude? Do I need to go join Pasadena? Do I need to go join Glendale? You don't. You don't, because all of the data from those systems is within the matrix platform. You guys have access to it all already. It's one of the key important things to these data share agreements that we've come up with all of these different organizations. One of the key ones up here, and I left it up here for a reason, is at the bottom it says Ventura County Coastal. They're coming back. They did leave our system from a data share standpoint, but they are coming back. We're negotiating a contract with them, and you guys will read a notification about that pops up on Matrix. Everybody reads those, right? Yeah. You're lying to me. The 0.3 seconds that we record in between the time you log in and said, I've read this, either everybody in here is a super fast speed reader or you're not reading them. You're not reading them. You know, West San Gabriel communicates with you guys through those. Please, please read them. They're important. We don't put information out there just for our fun. So it's very, very important information, and you guys need to see those. Reciprocal access associations. These are important to note because their data is not in the matrix system, okay? But with the exception of one, and I'll talk about that, the offers of compensation and cooperation are available to you with all the data out of Alameda, Bay East, Contra Costa, Delta, which is west of Sacramento, Nevada County, which is north of Sacramento, North San Diego, why do I have Honolulu on there twice? Pacific Southwest, which is the southwest corner of San Diego County, Sutter, Yuba, and West Contra Costa. Okay? A lot of those are up in the Northern Bay Area. The only one where offers of compensation and cooperation are not offered to you is Honolulu, okay? Because you guys are not most likely licensed in the state of Hawaii. You have to be licensed in the state of Hawaii to receive an offer of cooperation and compensation, but there are a ton of click-throughs in between their system to our system and our system to their system. So you guys have access to that if you have clients who say, I'm looking for a vacation home and Honolulu looks cool or the island of Oahu looks cool, you can say, well, let me give you some resources and be able to help them out, okay? And that's one of the key reasons why our board of directors is doing this. One of the driving philosophies that's been pushing us for the last just about 10 years is this idea that brokers and agents are part of an industry as a whole. And that industry, because of all these third-party portals like Realtor.com and Zillow and Trulia, have empowered the consumer with a much greater breadth of information. They get more information. Do consumers have borders when they search for homes online? Do you guys have borders when you search for homes within the matrix system? That's a problem, and that's what the board of directors is looking to solve. And when we talk about It's My Business, that's where we're going. We have a ton of product offerings for you guys to utilize. And we recognize that we're not looking to be in competition with any franchise system or any brokerage system, but anything that has to do with the delivery of data and offers of compensation and cooperation, we think it's important for the multiple listing service to offer tools for you guys to use. From the Matrix platform to things like Cloud Streams, which allows you to communicate with your clients in a much clearer and more robust way. Think one of the things that has been so important to us internally at the CRMLS level is giving you guys really cool tools, because the portals are doing it. They're giving the consumers really cool methods of looking at data, things that they love, and they are utilizing those, and we need to be more competitive on our side. And that's really what we're trying to do, is move ourselves more in that direction. How many of you guys use one of our mobile apps? Really? Download them, guys. It's gotten to the point now that half the time I don't even go into Matrix. I go on my cell phone. And I have both the Home Seekers app and the CRMLS app. They're free for you guys to use. And coming in the next month or so, remember that little thing where it pops up in Matrix and there's something for you guys to read? You're going to get a notification that you're going to be able to take your cell phone and do simple edits to your listings via your cell phone. If your client calls you and says, we need to drop the price. You guys have been talking about it. We need to drop the price. You guys can go onto your cell phone and do that immediately. You don't have to wait until you get to a desktop or your iPad or anything from that standpoint. If the status changes and you guys need to go in and make that change, you guys will be able to do that. If you need to add something into the property description, you guys will be able to do that. So please, you guys are going to read now, right? Okay. Thank you. There are a number of things up here, and I'm not going to go into it, but we have training classes available, and you guys, as a board of directors, have been very supportive of CRMLS, and this association has training for you guys on a regular basis. So take a look at their schedule and come out and see one of our trainers. Let's talk about my favorite subject, which is the rules and regulations. It is a 47-page document. How many of you guys have read all of it? I got one in here. It is it is complicated, but it is so important for you guys to understand why we do the things that we do. I'm a firm believer, and it's not because I work for the multiple listing service. I am a firm believer in the multiple listing service primarily because you guys have built something. The brokerage and agent community have built something that is so pro-consumer, it's ridiculous. For those of you who have done real estate outside of this country, what you guys have in the United States is not duplicated anywhere outside of Canada in this world. You do not have databases where you can log into and see most of the listing inventory in any given area. You just don't have it. And if there is a more complete database available in that area, there are not guaranteed offers of compensation and cooperation that flow with that. You guys have it so good. And one of the things that I get concerned about as time goes on and these outside portals make it so easy to communicate directly to the consumer is this idea of cooperation is breaking down across the real estate industry. And that's not for me to stop. That's not for my staff to stop. That's for you as brokers and agents to recognize what it is that you have. How many of you guys do commercial business? A few hands are going up. There is no multiple listing service outside of CRMLS. The vast majority of the commercial listings do not come into the CRMLS system. How easy is it for you guys to navigate, find properties, and be compensated on the commercial side? Imagine the real estate industry on the residential side operating like commercial does right now. You say the rules are complicated. The rules are necessary because it provides a common platform, an equal playing field for all brokerages and agents. You guys can have the assurances that the multiple listing service and the brokers who are participating in it, that you walk into a property and you bring a ready, willing, and able buyer who meets all of the requirements, puts an offer in, that you're going to be compensated, and that they will cooperate with you to show that listing and to get that listing closed if you have an accepted offer. That is what the rules and regulations are all about. We have a violation department. We call it compliance. It is necessary. I will tell you, in 2016, we received 56,000 notifications of violations. 33,000 of those were verified that there was actually a violation that occurred. 6,000 notices or warnings went out to brokerages. Less than 3,000 fines were given to agents and brokers across all of the CRMLS system. There were 270,000 closed listings in 2016 within the CRMLS system. Some of you may think that what we're doing is difficult to deal with, but recognize that the multiple listing service and what we're doing at the association and the MLS level, our primary responsibility is to make sure that that data is reliable for everybody to utilize, okay? So recognize we're not in this to get money out of you from a fining standpoint. We could have fined a lot more people. We are in it to make sure that the data is accurate and clean. And there's a lot of times where there's just innocent mistakes that have been made. And we're not looking to fine people for that. But I will tell you, of the 3,000 people who did receive the fines, most of them absolutely deserved them because they just were habitually not paying attention to the rules and regulations. The easiest way not to get a fine in the CRMLS system is to know the rules, okay? That, first and foremost, I think is important for everybody to note. Let's talk a little bit about the future. There's going to be increased standardization of rules and data. There are wide varieties of estimates, but by last count, there are 730 multiple listing services in the United States. There's still about 45 in the state of California alone. Even with CRMLS, we have half of the realtors in the state of California belong to CRMLS. And there's still an additional 44 MLSs serving that other half. So hopefully what we're looking to do is to get everybody to speak the same language when it comes to data, especially from a brokerage community standpoint. How many of you guys would love to go to your website company and say, I've got access to the whole state of California for my IDX websites? That'd be cool. That's what we're looking to do, and especially standardizing the rules and data so everybody in the state of California is playing off of the same playing book. There's a couple of different things going on nationally that are of interest. Project Upstream and Broker Public Portal. I'm not going to go too much in depth in either one. Project Upstream is an attempt by a lot of the large franchise and brokerage groups to change the way that data is entered into the multiple listing service. CRMLS is supportive of both initiatives, but at this point, technologically, they've not come to a point of fruition. They're not quite anywhere near being able to deliver off of what they're talking about. So Project Upstream, very quickly, if you're part of Keller Williams or RE/MAX or any of those larger franchises, you would no longer input your data into the multiple listing service. You'd input it into this platform, and this platform would insert it into the multiple listing service for you. It's not really a whole lot of change from our standpoint, as long as everybody who inputs information into Project Upstream with the intent of putting it into the MLS adheres to the rules and regulations, okay? Broker Public Portal is now called HomeSnap. You guys can actually go to homesnap.com and see what it looks like. HomeSnap is an attempt by the brokerage and MLS community in this country to compete with the Zillows, Realtor.coms, and Trulias of the world. It will be a platform that does not have the 3 or 4-headed monster on it. Do you guys all know what I'm talking about with Realtor.com and Zillow, the 4-headed monster? It's on the right side, all of the agents who don't have that listing. They have their heads there. They pay Zillow and Realtor.com for that privilege. Broker Public Portal would have none of that, okay? There will be some tools for buyer's agents that will allow them to brand the experience for their clients so they can have a little bit more closer touch on that. And then front end of choice, actually the dates on that is wrong. In the next month or so, you guys are going to be, once again, reading our little pop-ups, and you guys will have the ability to choose different front ends. I know you guys have been trained on Matrix and have a comfortability on that, but we've been working hard to give you guys the ability to utilize whatever platform you want to be able to access the MLS data. I know the vast majority of you probably won't take access of this, but it's really going to be simple as clicking a button and going into a different system. All of your prospects, your saved searches, your client portals, your emails will all come across. So you guys will be able to choose what it is that you want pretty quickly and easily. It's my business. I will end on this. I know I'm getting close to the end of my time. It's my business is our attempt to get all of the MLSs in the state of California to play with each other. How beautiful would that be? How beautiful would it be as a broker that you have one MLS to join and you gain access to the whole entire state of information? You know, I get it would be a beautiful thing, and it's my business, and I don't remember your name. Seal right next to you. Marion, if you could stand up, I'm gonna. I need you to show everybody your shirt. We didn't plan this, obviously, but our board of directors firmly believes what I talked about a little bit earlier is that consumers have no borders, realtors should have no borders either. You guys shouldn't be confused whether or not, you know, what MLS do I join to get data for this area? All you guys need to do is be able to go into the platform, the Matrix system, and search across the whole entire state. We are going up and down the state, talking to brokers and agents about having this done. And we're having a lot of success, which is a good thing, okay? The success is coming across pretty clearly. Some of the successes, we just added in the Central Coast area, Pismo, Scenic Coast, which is Morro Bay. You guys have access to Atascadero, Paso Robles, all within the Matrix system. San Diego data will be in the Matrix system at the end of April, okay? I know you guys have to click into another system now to access that data. That data, we're just waiting for them to get all of their ducks in a row before we release all of that data out to you guys. And we are talking to other MLSs up and down the state to give you guys access to as much information as we possibly can. And with that, do I have a few minutes for questions or? Yeah, we're going to have to leave that for later, so I will stick around, but I will turn it. We've been overruled.
10 minutes.
Well, actually, ladies first.
I want to thank you for San Diego, because I was down at a meeting down there with you when you were presenting it, and there were so many people against it that I'm so glad that you finally made your way in there.
It's always interesting to see what shows up into a meeting, and the interesting thing is that we've exhibited in all three associations down there their trade shows, and we take count of, we ask people, are you in favor of this or not in favor of it? 98% of the people who walked through our booths were in favor of it. So they got the 2% that weren't in favor of it to walk into that meeting and yell at us. So be assured that the vast majority of the agents down in San Diego want the same thing that you guys do.
The other thing I need to get across, I deal from San Francisco to San Diego, and the realtors are so rude if you're not in their town. I'm dealing with somebody in Temecula right now, and she is so rude because I'm not in Temecula. And we got to get across to the realtors, we need to cooperate. We're not their enemy.
No, and one of the things that I think is important to note is that a lot of people think that the multiple listing service or the association should be used to limit where brokers and agents do business. That is not the association or the MLS's job. That's the broker's job. Okay? The brokerage needs to do that. Bob, really quickly.
In our sharing of data with other MLSs around the state, a lot of information is lost. In other words, the information I put in the remarks here doesn't always show up the same in Claw or Beverly Hills.
We are working with them on that because partially it's intentional, and I'll leave it at that. All right. Quickly. Okay.
I think you have covered it. Do we cover San Francisco, San Jose?
San Jose, yes. San Francisco has pulled out of doing any data share. So San Francisco proper, no. But Monterey through Santa Clara, up into Oakland and Contra Costa in that area, yes, we cover. But San Francisco city proper, we do not. Last one, Caesar.
I know rules, I follow rules, I respect rules. Unfortunately, when a house sells at 888, the 888 at the end, it gets rounded off at the county, okay? And then you guys call me that I have a violation because 2 years ago a property sold at wrong price, and I have to prove with a closing statement that it closed at 888 on the bottom of it. So that is excessive work. And I just the other day just had raised my hand and said, do whatever you like to correct it. So that the integrity department data, it's a little bit too nutty on correcting something that is as.
But recognize we have somebody on the other side complaining about that, and we've got to answer to them. That's why we reach out to you.
Was it out of complaint or was it out of just the data integrity department taking
With stuff like that, we don't go back that far. We're not actively searching back that far. We've got a complaint from somebody.
Thanks for clarifying that.
The vast majority of the violations come off of complaints. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.